Today we're going to be discussing how to get clients to pay you to help them solve their problems for your physician consulting business on this episode of Bootstrap MD. Hey guys, it's Dr. Mike Wu Ming. Welcome to another episode of Bootstrap MD. I hope you've had an incredible week and I'm pretty pumped up to be discussing this topic today. Way back in episode 11 of the Bootstrap MD podcast, I talked about how to find a niche for your becoming a physician consultant. And as I've said time and time again, I believe physician consulting is the ultimate side business for any physician. You can do this whenever you want, wherever you want. You can do this while still working as a full-time physician. And you're not there to produce anything. All you're there is to use your own knowledge and to get paid and leverage your own knowledge and helping other people solve their problems. And I like to think of it as really as a lifestyle business because you can do it anywhere. You don't have to wait for patients. You don't have to, it's not a strenuous work. You're using your mind. And what I wanted to talk about is how to find clients. I mean, that's what it's really all about. I've been a consultant for over a decade. I've helped a lot of people in a lot of different types of genres, but most notably in business. So I help people who want to start up their own practice. I help people who want to market their own website. And those are skills and talents that I've learned, for over 2 decades. So when you're looking to start any type of consulting business, you want to go to something that you really know like the back of your hand. Like you should feel comfortable going on stage and talking about that particular topic. And if you want to find out more, I encourage you to go to episode 11 to really hone and find your niche if you're still not sure about which way to go. Today I want to talk about how I structure my website and how I go to events to start promoting my consulting business. And that's something that you need to be comfortable as a doctor. I know for doctors, we don't like to sell, but honestly, we sell every single day when we're working with patients. We're selling that prescription. We're selling them to go get an x-ray because we're concerned about their smoking history. So we are involved in selling, and I'm not a big fan of selling myself. I'm a bit introverted, but you need to do what you need to do, right? And if nobody is going to toot your own horn, you need to be able to be comfortable of tooting your own horn yourself. And that's allowed me to create a business that focuses on my lifestyle. And sometimes I'm open for clients for consulting, and other times I'm not. So the first thing that you need to hone in on is just understanding who is your target market, who are you working on, and then focusing, really hyper focus whatever problem that you're helping them on in really narrowing that down for them so that you can really help them. And again, we've talked about this in the past, but I like to go to events where I'm the only doctor in the room. And that's how I kind of position myself in going to marketing events as being the only doctor there, and so people would come to me for health expertise. And so when you're going to conferences, and I encourage you to do it, and you're really kind of like deciding what kind of way that you want to go to, start going to industry-related events where there are potential clients, or where you believe are potential clients there that are going to be, that you could help these people, because that's really what it's all about, right? And don't be shy to ask for referrals if you don't know. Now, before I dive into actually like how I kind of structure my website, you need to work on your pitch, what also known as the elevator pitch. And you should take less than 30 seconds, and basically you want to answer three questions. What do you do? Why should somebody listen to you? Not even consulting, like why should they listen to you? And how you can help them. So let's say that again. What do you do? Why should somebody listen to you? And how can you help them? Another way that I've also been taught is filling in the blanks of this sentence. I help blank so they can have blank. Or if you want to take that a step further, I help blank who want to help by blank, and the last blank is the method. So let's take the first one. I help, in my case, I help doctors so they can have more time with their family and a better quality of life. So that's I know it's pretty broad, but I focus on who is my target. I help doctors, and so they can have more time with their family and better quality of life. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can say I help blank doctors who want a better quality of life by, and this is your method, by teaching them how to have their own cash paid practice, or teaching them how to build residual streams of income online. So, so again, there's two ways you can do it. You can ask yourself those questions I said previously. What do you do? Why should I listen to you? Here's how I can help you. Or you can, if you just want to fill in the blanks, do that. I help blank who wants to, the desire, whether it is, by whatever method you're using to do that. So it could be I help doctors who want to, or you can even focus it even more. I help doctor moms who want to spend more time with their family by teaching them how to invest in real estate. So very, very simple. And if you can answer that, again, that's within 10, 15 seconds, then that's something that you should feel comfortable when you go and do all these different types of conferences. And ideally, when you're being the consultant, it should be the person that says, hey, you know what? That Dr. Mike guy, we're at a big marketing conference, but I think, he's a medical doctor. He might know something about health. And I have a health website. Maybe I should go and talk to him. And that's where I was kind of and that's how I ended up being like the go-to person in terms of anybody who was interested in marketing their website that was somewhat health related. I was the person, there were a handful of people that people would go to, and that kind of allowed me to set myself apart from other people. So it's what I call your USP, or what's been known as USP. I didn't invent it. Jay Abraham invented it, called the unique selling proposition. What do you have that makes you special, that really out distances you away from the competition? So that being said, you've got your 30-second pitch. You got your elevator pitch. What you can say on an elevator to explain what you do, and that'll really kind of target whatever type of way that you can now attract new clients. Now, I've talked also about the importance of having a funnel where you have people just like as you imagine in a funnel. At the top, they're just people who what we call suspects, and then they either go onto your website, your landing page, and now they raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about what you have to say. And they do that by opting in to get your ebook, to your white paper, to your checklist, to your cheat sheet, by giving you their name and email address. And now they've gone from just a suspect to a prospect. And then eventually from the prospect, going down that funnel, they're actually hopefully someone who become your client. Now, the way that I used to teach about consulting is about having a website. And I still think that you need to have a website where it's about yourselves and about all the things that you can do to help consult them. But where I saw a lot of the problems is if you have a lot of different areas where you can help them in terms of consulting. So using myself as an example, I've been consulted on helping businesses with their online presence, helping them improve their reputation management, helping them with social media. And then I have another group who focuses on helping them with their startup clinic, helping them build a cash-based clinic. And then there's another one where I've been involved in, my own website as a physician, and that's a whole other game as well. And so, yeah, it's great to have a consulting website that tells you what to do, but at the end of the day, what does the prospect, what are they most interested in? They're interested in themselves, right? It's that radio station we all tune into, WIIFM. What's in it for me? So, yes, it's important to have a website, a standalone website that tells you what you did, where do you go to school, blah, 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 blah. But more importantly, it's better to have a standalone website that focuses on the particular niche that you're going to consult with. So what I like to do is to have funnels. Now, I use a program called ClickFunnels, but you don't have to use that. You can use Lead Pages. But what the software allows me to do, it allows me to create a sales funnel very, very quickly, where it creates pages. Unlike a standalone WordPress website that I have, it allows me to create a page for capturing their name and email address. It allows me to put video. It allows me to create an opt-in box where they put their name and email address. It'll then create the thank you page where they go to next. It'll allow them to deliver that whatever they're opting in. If they're opting in for a guide of some sort, it allows them to enter an autoresponder, which allows them to deliver that deliverable through the email. And there's also all these really cool things that it can do, but you can use that with Lead Pages, Optimized Press, ClickFunnels, or you can just build it by scratch, which I was doing many, many years ago using a program called Dreamweaver and learning how to do HTML. But getting back to my original thought is now I create funnels that specifically focuses on my target area. So I'll give you an example. This is a real example. If you go to insurancefreepractice.com, what you're taken to is what's known as a webinar, but it's a recorded webinar. If they give their name and email address, this is something that I promote for people who want or are interested in starting their own cash-based practice, or they're just curious how to do that. And then they opt in and they are taken to a webinar that is recorded. I don't make any, try to fool anybody that it's not recorded, but they go in and they can watch really good content for the next 45 minutes to an hour on how I built my own cash-based practice, how I case studies of people that I've worked with, what we did, all of the troubles that we had at the beginning, and now how we've been able to right the ship, and now I'm helping other people learn how to do it as well. But I invite you to take a look at that, and what you'll see is how I develop this standalone website. And this is something that I used with ClickFunnels. And what I'm giving them is the lead magnet. So the lead magnet is that, in this case, it's a recorded video that has lots of great information that they can use, and you may be able to run with that information and at least be curious on taking that next step further, saying, how can I develop my own cash-based practice? And at the end, I'm not selling them anything, but I do what's called a call to action. And in the call to action at the end is where they can get a free session where I do an analysis of your area and to determine if a cash-based practice would be amenable in your area based upon my expertise, knowledge, and the demographics in your area to see if, this might be something that you can pursue. And then that's something that I do live, and I sit down with the hopes that that I could hopefully help them if they decide to move further on it. Because I believe it's a lot easier to have someone who's actually done it, walked in their shoes, had some success, than they're doing it by scratch. What I did, and I dicked around for a few years until I kind of figured out what I was doing, and that is based upon my history of having a software company and some success online, and then trying to figure out how to do it in the real world, and learning the hard way that it's a lot easier to have a mentor to actually help there and do that. But that is the goal of the webinar, is to allow them to have a free session. And if they don't, and they can come on to the session, and if they want to, and we decide it's a good fit, then we can discuss about having a consulting arrangement of some sort. But again, right now I'm doing it free, and I've been limiting it, so I don't promote it too often. But if you want to see how I actually develop it, I really encourage you to check it out, because it's something that we've continually refined on, and what it's done is I love doing strategy sessions because it allows me to get to know the prospect. And again, because we're doing this online and we're not doing this live, it's not like I can put like a PayPal button or something like that. It is rather expensive to work with me, but I believe I'm worth what I've done because if you have a successful cash-based practice, the average revenue you can develop is in the high six and seven figures. So it's not like when you charge a dollar, right? What I I encourage you to go through the webinar, but taking my word for it, basically at the end it says, I think I wrote down what I wrote here. I offer a complimentary strategy session where it helps people really kind of focus on what's important and can point you in the right direction. We'll do a analysis of the town, and then based upon your experience to see if it's even possible to do to build a clinic in that area. And oftentimes too, I have other options if you'd like to work further. So let's say I do the strategy session, and let's say that I feel that the person is maybe not the right fit, or they can't afford my services. That's fine. We've got some like courses that they could take, or even if it looks like I might be a good fit, but maybe there's something they don't get along with me, or maybe the other way around. I might refer them to someone else, maybe a competitor of mine. So, going to insurance-free practice is a good way to understand how the system works. Now, the fortune is always in the follow-up, and I had this conversation with a friend of mine who's also a consultant, and she says she had emailed a prospect about they wanted to hire her for consulting, and it didn't seem they had a good conversation on the phone, and then there was a lack of communication, and then she was asking me, should I still contact them? It's been about a month and I haven't really heard anything. And I said, the fortune is always in the follow-up, because everything can happen. I've lost clients because the email went into the spam folder, or heck, life, they just got busy. Maybe they've gone through some crazy event in their lives, and this is really not important to them. Or maybe they just, at that point, they weren't ready to purchase your services. Recently, I had a workshop on internet business, Bootcamp MD, and I had a client it'd been 10 years since I last saw her, who bought my workshop, but she'd been on my list for that long. And she said, before it wasn't the right time, but now is the right time for me to attend this conference. So you never know, what can happen. Now, with ClickFunnels, they have what's called an autoresponder. And what an autoresponder is a piece of software. It's involved in almost every email marketing software out there, where it's basically, let's say, today is Wednesday, and 48 hours, I want to send an email on Friday, this email, and then 4 days from now, I'm going to send another email. So instead of you actually, manually doing this, it basically records the time that they've opted in, and then at whatever intervals you put, you can send an email every day, every other day, next week, 6 years from now. I don't advise you to do that, but that really, the autoresponder is really the key component of it. And what I like to do is I set up about 3 or 4 emails that just reminds them that I'm here. Like, the first one is, hey, did you watch the webinar? Did you, if you didn't, here's a recording of it. I know that some people don't like recording of it. Here is a transcript of the entire call. Again, with the call to action is if they want to sign up for a free strategy session. You need to keep reminding people that you exist, and that if they have problems, that you can help them. And take it from my client who took almost 10 years to actually show up to one of my workshops, is you never know when is the right time, and only they know when's the right time to work with them. Other aspects you can put into that email is you can focus on the different benefits. You can focus on case studies, and so these are people that you've helped with, that they were in one place and now that they're in a better place based upon hiring you for becoming a consultant. So there's a lot of things that it's important to have an autoresponder that you may not get. I know that it's difficult to get on a webinar, a video. People don't have an hour. If you may want to break that up, into 15-minute increments or even 5-minute increments, whatever that is. And I know that also that we get so much email. I mean, how many people just get like one email, right? We get 300 emails a day, right? So whatever that is for you, make sure that you continuously remind them. And if they don't want to hear from you, they can always unsubscribe. So let's say you have someone, they watched your recording, they like what you had to say, they wanted to set up a time to talk. And what's great is we have so many tools now that are available to set up your calls and actually make things a lot easier for you when it's actually time for you to get on the phone. Now, before you set up the first meeting, what I like to do is to set up a survey, or what I like to think of it as an application. And you really got to, and the word application, there's a lot of like NLP associated with this, neurolinguistic programming, if you're not sure what that is. There's some psychology involved in there. Like when you went to college, what did you do? You went to apply for college, right? You applied for medical school, right? It just positions you a little bit better, and it's important that your time is valuable, and you want to make sure that your importance is known. So I like have the ability for people to apply. The people are. It's not just I'm just going to go ahead and work with everybody, which you don't want to do, right? You want to value your own time just as well as you want to value their time. So what I like to do is ask them a series of questions in the form of an application. Of course, you can have your contact information, name, phone number, best times to call. And then what you really want to do is ask a series of questions that really hones in to see if, one, this is a problem that's important for them to solve, whatever you're consulting on, and how urgent is it for them to solve this problem? And also, an important part is this something that they're going to be willing to pay money for this? And again, a lot of these things we kind of feel weird about, but again, as a consultant, you want to make sure your time is valuable. Now, the way that I use these, I've used tools such as SurveyMonkey.com or Wufoo, WUFOO.com, and these are some tools. They're both free, and I believe they have paid, and they have paid versions. They also have a really kind of a free version, but you really want to get the most benefit. You want to do the paid version. It's not very expensive at all. That allows you to create these questions, and then it makes sure. And you can also I've used Google surveys. Google does surveys as well if you want a free option as well, and it makes sure that there's certain questions I make required, and then some questions that they can skip. And again, the goal of the application is to make sure that this is a great fit for both of you. It really kind of weeds out the tire kickers, and to make sure that these are people who seriously want to make a change. So, for example, on my application, if someone is interested in starting up their own cash-based practice, I kind of want someone who's kind of a little bit more serious, because there's a lot of undertaking in creating a new practice. If they're someone who's just kind of thinking about it or just wanted to find out more information, I might instead send them application. It's not the right time, but maybe you want to take my course, an online course that I've done, or a book that's coming out on Amazon, and read that first, and then decide if this is the right time for you. Because, like I said, it's not right for everybody. You also want to ask about their budget. Like it says, like, how much do you value the advice of a mentor? These are things that I've learned. Like, it's really hard for someone to consult with if they're always feeling that they need to have the last word, and say, well, why did you hire me as a consultant, right? I want this to be a group effort. You need to be able to listen to what I say, and realize that there's a reason that I'm teaching you this, because I've probably gone through the same problems. So again, I invite you to check out the website to see how we do that. Now, another really great tool to use is scheduling, and I don't use it that often because I have a assistant who kind of schedules and goes back and forth. But how many times do you love to play phone tag, right? Like, let's meet next Tuesday, or I can't for 3 o'clock, or is that Pacific time, is that East Coast time? Well, there are tools now that make it easier, and I'm sure you've been on one of these tools at least. Calendly.com is probably the most famous one. And basically, what it does is it sets times that I'm available, and then they can just pick the time that works best for them. Another one is doodle.com. There's a whole bunch of different types of online calendars. The thing that's important too is I still haven't done paid sessions, but what really bothers me is when no one shows up. Nobody likes that, right? So you really need to keep reminding them that we have a call, and it's important that you show up to the call. If you can't make it at all, to please give us notice so that call can be filled up. Now, when I set up my call, I love using Zoom. So Zoom is a webinar. You can also use something like GoToWebinar. I love having that interaction face to face. You can also do it through Skype, or you can just use the regular phone. In my opinion, if I can't meet them face to face, the best way is through using something like Zoom. Like if you can show documents, you can send them documents. I feel that's the best way. It's the most professional way to do it. Sure, phone is an option, but if you're going to be using consulting, it's something that you can see how they react. You can see if there's a lot that you can get just by studying the human face that can determine that this is the right path for both of you to be working on. Now, what should you be talking about in the strategy session? What I like to do is basically read some of the questions that I have for them on my application. I want to know about their goals. And I also want to know is like how committed are they into seeing a solution, like on a scale of 1 to 10. If someone's telling me, this is like a 3, I know that this probably not is of great importance. Or I'm looking at this, but I'm looking at 10 other things. Again, this might not be the best time for you to be hiring a consultant. And is this something like, how much is it costing you? That's also important, is if you don't decide to work, what is your other option? Or, if they're saying, I need to create a clinic where I'm working right now is not helping me, and it's something I've wanted for so long, and this is the time that I want to do it. Other questions you can ask is, what are the goals of this project? Is it short term? What are your goals long term? Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? Where do you need the most help on? And hopefully those weaknesses are things that you can actually provide for them. So, other questions you can ask is, what are the main reasons you like to work with me? Who will be making the final decision? These are all very, very important questions. So those are some things that I've learned. Just to sum up, when I have a consulting, I use a funnel. I don't use a website. I use an application. So when I go out and network, and people are interested, I have a card, and it goes to like the Insurance Free Practice for a free recorded webinar. Find out more information, go to this website. And what I like about it is it's a passive thing that they can do. They're not just here to set up a phone call. And then what happens is you can both decide and really kind of weed out people who are serious and people who are not. So don't just create a standalone website. Create a targeted sales funnel that can let you find the client of your dreams. That can help you find clients that you can really make a difference in, that you can really, really help, that you can really change their thinking and create a great lifestyle consulting business for yourself. So those are my thoughts. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. You can find out how to contact me on bootstrapmd.com. If you're watching this on video, go ahead and put a comment on the video on the YouTube itself. Always click and subscribe, and just try to do something. Work on something new each day to get you closer to your goals. If you want a little homework assignment, work on that 30-second pitch. Fill in those blanks that I talked about. And again, never look backwards. Always keep moving forward.